Hey, everybody. This is Steve and my co host,
Josh.
and we are two likable guys. And we have a very special treat for you today. Has it ever been so long since you've cut your toenails that you cut your toenails and your shoes fit better?
Can't say it has.
Well, that's happened to me, and it's just kind of fun. That's just to me. No, I'm sure there's somebody out there that can relate. I mean, you get busy and you just put it off and you put it off, and then you clip them and you're like, dang, my shoes feel more comfortable.
Seems
So
like
you're walking around all happy.
seems like they'd cut through your socks.
They just bend down. Uh,
Just fold over.
yeah, they just kind of fold over and then break off. No, that's gross. Anyway, we have a very, very special episode today. Today we are going to celebrate Veterans Day with my favorite veteran, and just get right into it. He served in Vietnam. Um, when did you serve in
I
Vietnam?
served in 1967, February of 67 to February of 1968.
And this special guest is my dad. He is my favorite veteran ever. Um, so,
You'll get points for that.
yeah. Well, well, if you didn't know it before now, then I'm doing something wrong.
You're doing fine.
I thought maybe he's trying to outdo Alan. Get a little bit more brownie,
Oh
little
yeah,
more brownie
yeah,
points than the
yeah,
brother.
Yeah.
yeah. Alan is my brother, my older
Yeah.
brother. He is the favorite. No, I
Now, I
don't know.
wouldn't say that for sure.
Oh, for sure. There's always got to be that mystery. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm an Air Force veteran, matter of fact,
Air Force,
and Air Force, and
and,
I
and we'll
spent
come
8 years in there.
find out that I was born on an Air Force base, but we'll learn that later in the show.
Okay, we'll wait till later and tell them.
Yeah, that'll be a
Yeah,
suspense.
the
We're
secret.
setting it up.
That'll be a secret. Don't tell
Yeah,
him now. Don't
yeah.
tell him
Don't
now.
tell anybody till the end. Anyway, so the way I've looked at it is you graduated in high school around what 65,
I did.
and did you go right into Vietnam right out of high school?
No, it took me about a year well, I enlisted in February of 66, and it
Okay,
took me a year from there to make my way to Vietnam. I had to go to school
okay.
and learn all about my my job.
Was boot camp is boot camp as awful as people say it was then? I've heard stories now that they have timeout cards.
You're
Um,
kidding.
no, I heard that just the other day, but I don't know if that's true. So maybe we'll get somebody to chime in to find out if that's true or not.
I don't know about timeout cards, but if we messed up, we were pulled out of ranks and made to do some extra push-ups or stuff like that, left face and right faces, and just
Did you?
different drills.
Did anybody ever have to scrub the latrine with a toothbrush?
No,
Okay.
um, they had a little bigger brush.
I've seen that in movies where they make them scrub the stuff up and
Yeah,
but anyway.
yeah.
So you were not drafted. Did you think you were going to be drafted if you
Mm,
wouldn't have enlisted, or
I probably would have been drafted,
did you
but
know did you know anybody that was drafted?
yeah, I've had friends that were drafted.
And
They
and
ended
what
up in the Army, and I
uh,
already knew I wanted to go in the Air Force.
what made you make the decision to join the military?
Well, I didn't go to college right then. I delayed that, what little college I ended up getting.
Right.
But I wanted to get into the Air Force because I had a liking for airplanes and things like that.
Okay.
So I joined, and they give you aptitude tests, and I tested pretty good on mechanics and electronics, so I ended up getting a career field as a aircraft mechanic.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you were going over to Vietnam. So did you have lots of practice before you went to Vietnam working on the planes you were going to be working on in Vietnam?
Yes, I went to MacDill Air Force Base before I left, and we were training pilots to go to Vietnam too. So we were, uh, as we trained those, we had to do all of our inspections and ground handling and taking care of the airplanes,
Okay.
which were McDonnell Douglas F4s. I was a assistant and crew chief on the F4. It's a 2-engine jet fighter,
Sweet.
and I'm just full of all kind of knowledge that is useless now.
No, that's good stuff.
But
What do you know how
hey,
fast the F4s were?
it was a plus Mach airplane. Yeah.
And
If they did a test flight to pass, it had to go at least Mach 1, but it could push on up there, Mach 1.5 to toward 2.
okay, and excuse my stupidity, but is that breaking the sound barrier?
Yeah, Mach is sound barrier.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
yeah.
So, okay,
And
so
those engines, they were GE, J79 GE jet engines, and they produced about 18,500 pounds of thrust each.
can you relate that to horsepower?
Don't know how to.
Okay. I was just curious.
Really,
A
really
bunch.
wouldn't know how.
A lot.
Yeah,
A whole
a
whole bunch.
whole heap.
Yeah, it would be a whole heap.
So you got all this training. So were you pretty confident or were you pretty nervous about getting your orders to go to Vietnam?
Well, it's a funny thing. I was pretty confident. A guy I worked with that I actually joined the Air Force with, or met him as I was joining, met him in Nashville where we were inducted. And we got stationed together down there. So we said, okay, if we sign up to go to Vietnam, they'll get us our duty station wherever we want to go. If we volunteer, they'll give us our duty station.
Okay.
So we volunteered, and we had already been, working these airplanes and stuff like that. So we volunteered and walked out of the personnel office and looked at each other and says, "Oh Lord, what have we done now?" So there was a little second thought going on right there because my dad always says, "Don't volunteer for anything."
Oh,
But he was a Marine, and I thought there's a little difference.
yeah.
So
So
we got our duty station.
so and where was that?
I was stationed at Cameron Bay Air Force Base.
And had that been in existence for a long time before you got there? Was it already built up? And
It was built up pretty good. They had permanent runways, but the aircraft parking area and where we were and everything, they built revetments, and it was on PSP, perforated steel plating
okay.
that was laid down so we could taxi and move those airplanes around without them sinking down into sand and dirt.
Well, did you ever get to fly in one of those F4s?
I did not.
Oh,
I got close. The month I made crew chief of the month, they cut it out.
oh,
No.
But before that, and I would have loved to have done that, but I didn't get to. But I've rode in one as far as uh, taxiing.
okay. But you didn't get to fly in one.
No, sure didn't.
So did you get to taxi it to somewhere?
I did have a taxi license, and we could taxi down at Cameron Bay. They had a run-up area, which was you go down one taxiway and you go to the other end of the field or runway, and there's a place over to the right where you could strap these things down on a run-up area and they could check out engines and stuff. And I have taxied down to that.
So how hard would it have been to just take it on to the flight line and take off?
That's what I was just fixing to ask.
I tell you what, there's too many of them loaded with guns. I wouldn't have made it too far.
Well, that's true. I guess you don't want to fly into a war zone and not be a very experienced pilot.
That's for sure. They'd send somebody after you in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, did you ever get out there and give her a little drink, speed a little bit when you were taxiing them around?
No, you had to pretty well keep it within the regulations.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to ride in any kind of fast airplane or anything? Not being
well, I've rode in a Learjet.
Well, that's pretty fast.
Yeah, they go pretty good.
Well, comparatively, I'm guessing a Learjet would not go Mach 1.5.
No, surely wouldn't. But it would go around 375 to 450 miles per hour.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty quick. That's faster than a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
Well,
that's true.
Well,
but I enjoyed my tour over there. I worked hard. We worked 12 hours a day, some weeks 7 days, and some weeks 5.
Okay.
And they had 2 shifts, day shift and night shift. And I worked most of mine on night shift.
And so you were over there for 1 year.
1 year, 1 year and 1 day.
1 year and 1 day. So what would a typical day look like?
Well,
when you were there?
If your airplane was scheduled to fly, which they flew these things quite a bit, you would have to go in, and if it was scheduled to fly later, you had to do a pre-flight inspection. It takes about 2 hours or so to do this inspection. And then they fly, and while they're gone, you're helping other people do things and whatnot. But then when they come back, you have to refuel it and do a post-flight inspection and make sure nothing is broken. But whatever's written up on it by the pilots, you have to get that fixed. And that's the crew chief's job, is to make sure all these things get done. Like a hydraulic leak or, some electronic malfunction on the radar or something. They would have to, we'd call our specialists out to take care of that.
Did they ever come back with bullet holes?
Yes, a couple of times. This one guy came in and he hopped out and he said, "Would you crawl the engine for me?" And that means pull it, get up in the intake and crawl back there and check it. And I did, and I came back and I told him, I said, "You've been hit with a small caliber or something." I said, I lined up first 3 rotors and saw nicks on the blades.
Ooh.
So they had a tradition, I guess you could call it. If you found damage on an airplane, the pilot would give you a bottle of Seagram 7.
Okay.
It had a yellow ribbon, and you could wear the ribbon for a week.
Oh.
Like a lieutenant's bar. Of course, we were enlisted men, but it was something. I got a couple of those while I was over there, and
but mainly you were assigned, like you worked on your crew that you were a crew chief on worked on, for the most part, the same plane, unless it was out flying,
right,
or ready to go, I imagine.
Yeah.
And one of your planes unfortunately didn't make it back.
No, it was shot down. It was flying close air support for a Army operation near Dak To, Vietnam, and he took a small they shot him down with, I don't know if it's some kind of a small caliber or little rocket or something,
right?
Because the guy that did survive it, 2 pilots, front seater and the rear radar observer, and the rear pilot lived, and he said he thought he saw something coming at it. So
he,
yeah,
that's but the rear pilot ejected. So
he did. He got out. If you eject, the front pilot ejects. It throws the rear pilot out first.
Okay.
That way they're not running into each other.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's really dangerous.
Yes.
It's.
Yeah, I saw a little movie, a little YouTube clip of some pilot having to eject at fairly high speed, and it wasn't recommended, and you could see the wind just made his limbs flop.
Oh yeah. Well, the Mark 7 seats that we had, they, how do I put it? As you're going out, the straps on your leg pulls your legs back to the chair,
right,
and your arms back, and you're holding a face shield down over your face because that's what triggers the ejection. And you got to have it, or else it's going to blow your mouth open.
Ooh, yeah.
The air pressure would.
Yeah, but then you were assigned another plane, correct? And
that is correct. Yeah.
And it ended up on static display somewhere, didn't it?
It sure did, at the Air Force Academy in Colorado.
All right. And then another one of the planes you worked on ended up in
static display down in Eglin Air Force Base.
Yeah.
At the Armament Museum down there. And
yeah, I've seen that, and we have pictures of you with that. We went several years ago, and that was pretty neat. Pretty neat seeing you look at it and like reading the tail number or one of the numbers on it and say, I worked on this plane.
Crawled all over that thing, I did.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was interesting, and it was fun to go down there and see that.
Yeah, that'd be
but
pretty cool.
I imagine it wasn't all fun and games.
No, we worked hard, and things like that. I had a TDY to Da Nang Air Force Base, spent a month up there, and went through the worst air raid on an Air Force base in the history of Da Nang.
Ooh.
Yeah, July the 15th, 1967. I spent the whole month of July up there. We lost 8 airmen that night. And it was a rocket attack.
And was that in the barracks where you lost the airmen, or the?
Well, some were lost on the flight line, because they were zeroed in on those airplanes.
Right.
And our barracks were just the flight line, then a road, and then the barracks, and they was hitting all in that area, and the back of the barracks got blown off. And I was in the back of the barracks. Oh. So I don't know if concussion kept me down or what, but anyway, a guy come running through there, and he said, "Hey, you got to get out of here. We're being attacked." So we ran out and tried to get in the bunkers. I was upstairs. It was a 2-story building. I got downstairs and tried to get in the bunker, and the rockets were still coming and going over our heads. And whenever that happens, you just know that you're going to catch shrapnel or something. So I had nightmares over that one. Not being able to get into the bunker because there were people in there laying down instead of standing up.
What is that feeling? I mean, is it just, are you in shock? Is it just kind of a numb, or is it like utter chaos?
It's just a fear that, you're going to get hit, and you were trying to get in. You hear these things, you could hear it go over, and then if it was real loud, you knew it was going to land close, and which some of them did. After the night got over and we got out looking, down about, 150 feet from our bunker, a Jeep had been blown up, and there was a big crater in the road where the Jeep was, and the Jeep was laying over on his side, and I'm pretty sure those guys injured seriously or killed.
Right.
And fire trucks burned, airplanes burned, C-130s burned. There was a lot of loss in that attack.
So did you spend the whole year in Vietnam?
No, I did take a TDY.
Wait, what's a TDY?
Temporary duty.
Okay.
Yeah, they let you go either temporary duty or R&R, rest and recuperation. I chose a TDY to Clark Air Base in the Philippines.
Okay.
Gonna have a little school I went to on liquid oxygen handling of that stuff, and got over there and had a couple of days of school. It's a 3-day school, and a typhoon hit.
So
so I was hung there 2 more days. I was in a gymnasium with all kind of people just making pallets laying in there and stuff. Then after a day or so after that, they released us. I had to fly back
to Vietnam.
Right.
Not back. Okay. When that go back, I want to jump back to the raid a second. Didn't you get hit with shrapnel or something?
We don't know for sure if it was shrapnel or tore my arm on a piece of tin. I don't know.
So because you didn't know, I've heard this story for a while, but because you didn't know, they offered you the paperwork to fill out for a Purple Heart,
well, the medics come through the barracks, not the barracks, but the bunker. Right. And said, anybody in here hurt? And the guy standing beside me says, well, this man's arm's bleeding. And he said, come on, we'll go get it took care of. It's a Purple Heart. I said, no, I believe it'll be all right. I think Purple Hearts are for people that get their legs blowed off and stuff like that. Yeah. So I didn't.
Yeah. And I tend to agree with you. I think that was a good call.
Yeah, it was. I would hate to, have a Purple Heart and it be, something like a paper cut. They call those paper cut Purple Hearts.
Right. Yeah. No substance to it. There's not as much substance to it.
That's right. It's like it's like someone hooking a fish and then somebody else reeling it in.
Yeah, kind of shallow.
Yeah. I was wondering how long it would take for a fish reference to come into this conversation.
Yeah.
Josh knows we're fisher persons.
Yeah. Well, we had a little fishing expedition this weekend, just a few hours. It was, and my dad is always usually the best at fishing. 9 times out of 10, he will always catch the most fish, and then I'm going to say 6 times out of 10, he'll catch the biggest fish. Man. Well, this weekend kind of was the same. He caught the most, but surprisingly enough, my brother, the favorite, caught caught the biggest fish this weekend. So he caught a nice big trophy fish. So
that was a nice one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's enough of fishing tales for today.
Right.
And now I hope everybody else has gotten over the fact that I cut my toenails and my shoes fit better by now.
I could tell you a funny story about being over there in Vietnam. I can tell you more than one, but I'll tell you a couple.
Okay.
If you have time.
Oh, yeah. I think we have all the time we need.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Went into the shower room, which was, you go in and there's lavatories there and a big long mirror on the wall and you can shave. I walked in there and this guy, I knew him. He was in my squadron and he had lathered up his face and his eyebrows. And I said, what are you doing? He said, they said no facial hair. He said, and these eyebrows are on my face. He shaved those. He shaved those off.
No,
and
he didn't.
He did, and I guess he might have had some beers or something.
So did he pluck out his eyelashes too?
He said, I'm going to be clean shaven. And he shaved them off. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
He sure did. Another guy, he got wasted so bad, he was running around and carrying a sandbag full of sand. And this one guy said, what you got there? He said, I got a ham from home. He said, somebody shipped me a ham. And he carried it into his hooch. We lived in hooches, and laid it on his bed and took a knife and slit it open. That sand went everywhere. He said, can I say a bad word? He said, damn, this ain't nothing but a sandbag. He'd been carrying it around for 15 minutes.
Oh, man.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's moments like that that kept us, a little bit
sane.
I guess relaxed, sane. Yeah, get your mind off of it.
Well, did you get lots of letters from home? Did you get to?
I did. I had people that would write me pretty good and send me Kool-Aid and things like that, because the water wasn't great and the milk was not milk. It was that powdered stuff you mixed with water.
Oh.
So the Kool-Aid was nice. I had cousins that would send that to me.
So were you excited when you were getting ready, when you got the news you were going to come home?
Oh, yeah.
How long before you came home did you find out? And then what was that like?
Well, they give you a manifest that you get on, and it's about a week before, you leave over there, I guess. Maybe a little longer. But anyhow, you get this short timer's attitude.
Oh.
You start just don't go to work. You don't do anything. You just sort of hang out, do what you want to.
Yeah, because what are they going to do? Send you home?
Yeah, and send you to Vietnam and restrict you to the base.
Yes.
Yeah, they tried that.
What would you? What was the hardest part about coming back? Was there anything hard about coming back and then and?
Well, I tell you, I came back in February, and it was a Valentine's Day, which took me 2 days of Valentine's Day to get home. The one over there, and then the one on this side of the world, because they have it first, and then we get over here and we have it. It was so cold when I got here. I was used to that good warm weather.
Right.
I would just shiver and chatter. It was not used to it. I was used to that 110, 15 sometimes. And come on here and getting that 30 and 40 degree weather and about freeze to death.
Well,
but it was worth it. I reckon that's when I started dating your mother, Steve's mother.
I heard you dated. I don't think you dated Josh's mom, but we don't know. I mean, whatever. But when you came home from Vietnam, weren't you dating? Technically, you were dating two. You were seeing two girls.
I was, and this one girl I dated, I said, we had a date, had a pretty good time. And I said, well, can I call you? She said, well, why don't you just call Judy?
That's my mom.
She said, that's about the only thing you've been talking about. I said, okay. But she's still a good friend, and I know her and her husband and their children and stuff. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's neat. And then you came home. And how long was it from the time you got home till you and Judy started getting hot and heavy and decided to get married?
Well, we dated, I guess I've been home about 3 or 4 days and had a date with her. And a friend of mine talked me into that. And then we got engaged in March before I left to come back. I was there for a month. And I got there on 14th, and we got engaged probably around the 12th of March.
Oh.
So it didn't take a long time.
So, but y'all had known each other before, and before you went.
Oh yeah, we had met when we were in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was a little sweetheart of mine, off and on a time or two. I would go down, try to catch we rode a school bus to school, and I'd try to catch the bus in front of her house.
Okay.
And just to get to talk to her. So one morning, I was down there to catch the bus, and her mother came out there. And she said, "Is there something you can do about this guy, Michael, she's seeing?" I said, "Whoa." I said, "No, I better not fool around with that. They like each other." And so she says, "Well, I sure wish you would." So she and I got along real good.
And that was my grandmother, Grace.
Yes. Yeah. Loved her dearly.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah, she was awful good to me.
She's good to me too. So
yeah.
Well, that's just amazing. So then, once you got out of got back, and then you're getting engaged, and so where'd you get stationed next after?
I went to Eglin Air Force Base, Florida.
Okay.
That's up in the Panhandle near Fort Walton Beach. Beautiful place to be. And both my children, you and your brother, were born there.
There's the surprise.
Yeah, born on an Air Force base. You were Air Force brats for a little while.
Right. After you had me, I was the youngest, and you decided that you can't deal with the military and having to raise me, so you got out. What, after about a year? I was about a year old.
Yeah, that's right.
And what was your highest rank?
I was a staff sergeant.
Okay.
I made sergeant when I was in Vietnam. And when I made sergeant, I was pulling an airplane with this tug, and you're supposed to pull it, and you got wing walkers, so make sure you don't hit anything.
Right.
And you're not supposed to go any faster than they can walk.
Right.
I was going around through there, and I come around the corner, and those boys were just running. I was pulling that airplane pretty fast. This major saw me. He hops out, waves me down, and looked at me, and he said, those stripes can come off quicker than they went on. I said, "Yes, sir. I know that." I said, "I'll slow down." He didn't even have to tell me. He said, "You better." So I took the warning and didn't rush up so bad anymore.
Yeah, but that's probably why you obeyed all the rules there for taxiing the airplane too.
Yeah, that's true.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they had rules and you had to follow them. And it's safety. You know, the Air Force was real good about safety.
Right. I'm really glad to hear all these stories. I knew a few of them. Didn't know the ones about the guy shaving his eyebrows.
Yeah.
But that's good.
I can tell you his name.
Well, I don't know. Is he still? Are you still friends with him?
No, I don't ever see him or hear from him.
Oh, well, if you want to.
It is Jerry Killebrew.
Old Jerry.
Old Jerry Killebrew, yeah.
Well,
he said, "Boy, it's facial hair, and I'm going to shave it off." Sure enough, he did. It looked sort of weird there for a while.
Well, you know, that's pretty funny. Yeah. But I guess he didn't really care because he was going to be over there and not see anybody except people who are in the Air Force. So
that's right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I know we greatly appreciate your service and everyone who has served our country. That is just something that I don't ever take for granted. Probably because of being born on an Air Force base, and that's something I've always been proud of too. Just being able to say, most people say, "Yeah, I was born in a hospital." there's not a whole lot of people that say, yeah, I was born on an Air Force base.
Yeah.
And then
That's true.
I've always thought that's pretty good. And you, of course, are my favorite, and you are my hero, and I appreciate.
Well, thank you very much.
Everything you've done for me and our country, and anything you want to add, Josh?
Oh, it's always a pleasure talking with you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I've enjoyed it. You two likable guys. I hope this podcast does well for you.
Yeah,
and
well,
I've enjoyed the interview.
Yeah,
took me back a little bit.
Well, good. We tried not to bring up the too many of the bad memories, and I'm glad we got some of the fun, happy memories out.
Oh, that's true.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you come up with any more funny stories, maybe we can do another episode sometime. And even if you don't have funny stories, you ever want to come back, just let us know, and we'll make it happen.
Oh, I'm figuring we've got a fishing episode going to come up that he's going to have to.
Oh, we can do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep, we can do that.
Yeah, I wonder if Donald A. Trump likes to go fishing.
I've heard he has been able to fish a little bit.
Well, we'll see.
He only catches huge ones.
Yes,
huge. That's right.
And he doesn't like the ones from China.
So
anyway.
No Chinese carp for him.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Chinese carp, exactly.
Well, I want to tell everybody thanks for listening, and we sure do appreciate everybody helping us out and downloading and liking us and following us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you've got. And you can always find us at twolikableguys.com. And we like you, and we hope you like us too.
Later.